Andy Sullivan, Blue Collar Corner. Welcome to 2011 Year in Review. Starting with a little friendly congressman of ours from Queens, New York. Well, it seems this congressman, who's done about 3 terms and was a mayoral hopeful for New York, and newly married, pregnant wife, and had a thing for twittering parts of his anatomy to young, hot little college co-eds, and even established a rapport with some high school girls as well. Well, it turned out that during one of his transmissions, he ended up transmitting a picture of his package to the whole entire list. And, of course, it got out. He lied about it for a while. And then, when he got caught, he did something that no other Democrat ever did. He resigned. I mean, I was shocked. Democrats never resign. I mean, you could be caught smoking crack with a hooker and you get reelected. You could murder a girl and be called the Lion of the Senate. Or you could be a member of the KKK and keep getting elected into your 90s if you're a Democrat. Well, thank you, Anthony Weiner, because District 9 is now occupied by Mr. Bob Turner, who happens to be a Republican. And that hasn't happened in about 70, 80 years. So thank you, Mr. Weiner. Thank you, 2011. Next up, another friendly little fellow, salt of the earth character. Osama bin Laden. Hey, did you ever notice something? We never saw Bert and Osama in the same place ever. Ever. Same person? You be the judge. Anyway, we got him, and we got him big. And thank God for our brave SEAL Team 6. You know, remember those stories we used to hear that, you know, the guy's hiding in the caves, he's rustling around, and he has this whole contingency plan. Like, if Osama gets caught, he's not going to give it up to the CIA, to the waterboard boys. He's going to go out like a champ. He's going to have a cyanide pill or something, and he's going to pop it just as they're about to come closing in on him. No such luck. What did he do? He picked up one of his 8 wives, and he used her as the shield. But SEAL Team 6, with their sharpshooters, managed to get around the wife and pop 2 right in his head. Good night, Osama bin Laden. May you rot in hell. Next up, there was a terrible loss we had. And she was a young beauty and extremely talented. Amy Winehouse. Now, this talent from the British Kingdom was an amazing little girl. She had a voice as big as a nation. But she did have her problems with addiction. And you know what? We did make fun of her. And she couldn't handle all the fame and all the fortune. And it did end up bringing her to an early demise. Amy Winehouse, you were a great talent. God bless you. We pray for you. Now, here's a little lady. Former Speaker of the House. Old Plastic Pelosi. Well, Ms. Pelosi now is the minority leader because she's no longer Speaker of the House. After the 2010 elections, when we flipped the House, we had to wrestle that gigantic gavel from her Velociraptor claws. And John Boehner took over. But anyway, Nancy is more famous for her one-liners like, we won't know what's in the bill until we pass the bill. Or, I don't know, of course I'm telling the truth. Let me check my notes. Because she knows she has to check her notes to see if she told the truth. God love you, Nance. You're the best. Okay, and here's another group who actually Nancy Pelosi gave all sorts of support to. And this would be the OWS crowd. That's the Occupy Wall Street. This is a fun group, and you could join. This was the left's answer to the Tea Party. The only thing that was a little bit different from the Tea Party is you kind of had to get naked, and you kind of had to crap in public and have sex in public and be dirty and bring your own tent and occupy public areas and destroy local businesses and get people fired and have so much security there that the cops can't keep an eye on what's going on with the rest of the city because they're too busy watching all of these fools banging on drums. And they actually had a couple of deaths during this whole Occupy Wall Street thing. And it got so bad, the attacks, they had to put up a rape tent that was guarded by very large women in comfortable shoes. So it just goes to show you, Tea Party was the way to go with that one. Next up, who do we have? Ah, yes. The Kardashian wedding. Kim Kardashian and Chris Humphries. Now, it seems, I'm praying that this is the death of the no-talent celebrity. Because what she did was reprehensible. I mean, she got paid to get married. She got $11 million to get married. And I'm sorry, you can't poke your finger in the eyes of God's gifts. And marriage is one of the special things that you do under God. And it seems she did that whole entire display, that disgraceful display, for nothing more than celebrity and money. And I have a feeling now that not only her, but her whole entire Kardashian clan is going to end up paying the price. Next up, this man, Steve Jobs. We lost a great man, the quintessential icon of American capitalism. He represented everything that is great about this country and the free market. This was a man, I mean, he took the next step. When he was a kid in school, he was a brilliant young man and he had no boundaries and nothing stopping him. His ethos. What was his ethos?
Think different.
Think different. Thank you, honey. Think different. Now, that's something that you can't do if you're a liberal. Because if you think different and you're a liberal, they attack you. Because they don't want you to think different. They want you to think like they do. Because if you think on your own, you might break out of the little groups and little blocks that they put you in. No, don't forget. These liberals who run around with their iPhone, iPad, I this, I that, Mac this, Mac that, is all credited to this man. This man was a great American. And our prayers go out to Steve Jobs and his genius. And no other country could have taken advantage of and exploited his greatness and talent like the United States of America. And he'll be the first one to tell you that. Now we have something very near and dear. 10th anniversary, 9/11. Very, very touching moment. Can't believe it's been 10 years. I was down there when Obama came down, and of course he was usurping up every bit of credit for taking out bin Laden, according to him. And during his little victory lap that he did around Ground Zero, a woman I know who lost a brother in 9/11. As a matter of fact, she's the sister of one of the pilots that was killed during the hijacking, Deborah Burlingame. She approached Osama. I was going to say Osama. She approached Obama and she said, "Mr. President, why don't you tell your Attorney General Eric Holder to call off the dogs, off the CIA agents who got the intelligence to go and get bin Laden? Because without those guys gleaning that information from those three guys, KSM and the two flunkies, we never would have made it to bin Laden's makeshift mansion, which, by the way, was a couple of hundred yards away from the military base in Pakistan, whom we give billions of dollars to every year. Figure that out. And how can we forget one, Oprah used to call him. Well, the one is going to have himself a hell of a time getting reelected. Because, first off, now he's got a record he's got to deal with. And his record is abysmal. The economy stinks. Right now, the people are warring in the streets. He started this class warfare movement that's just not going to work. And no matter what he does, he's got to look at the havoc he's wreaked against this nation and how much money he's piled up on his watch alone. But he's got $1 billion, and he's going after the Republican candidate. And it's going to be a negative, nasty, scorched earth campaign. And I tell you this, if somehow this guy gets elected, there's going to be such a terrible feeling out there within this country that nothing is going to happen for the next 4 years. Because the feeling, and Congress and everyone is going to be so disenchanted because they actually asked him to pull out. Because they know this is going to be one of the most contentious election years ever. And it's actually be a good thing if the Democrats lose. Because if we get 4 more years of this guy, I can only imagine the havoc he's going to wreak on the greatest nation that ever was. So, that's it. We're summed up here at Blue Collar Corner. Hopefully I'll be around next year and we'll have much better news to report. Andy Sullivan, signing off.